Welcome back. Welcome back to the writing section of the day, and I will run through the topic of formal letters today, and we'll try to do it in 10 minutes now, since the recording otherwise kicks me off, and it has happened already to me several times today when trying to record the message to you. So very quickly speaking about the formal letters, there are a couple of reasons most probably why we would be speaking about those. Thing number one, there is a specific set of vocabulary that we would be looking for. So we try to avoid anything that is conversational, anything that is simple conversation with a friend. We definitely try to avoid short forms. Those are definitely not allowed in formal letters. And the third thing would be that we would want to have at least, like a sentence or two in the passive voice. So by the end of today's activity, hopefully we'll be fully aware of the structure of the formal letter, so how it should actually look like, and a bit of the language, what should be the language that we use when establishing or creating the formal letter. So before we sit down, I want you to think a little bit whether you have ever written a letter, text message, email, and letter. Try to differentiate between the two. If you have written an email or a letter, has it been a formal email or a formal letter? And one thing that you want to be careful with is that independent whether it's email or letter in the exam situation, we actually think about the letters. If you think about writing a letter, and more importantly, who and what was the thing that you had to establish in the letter, then that also indicates whether you had to write the formal letter or more like an informal letter. If it's a person you don't know, then it's most probably formal. Or if it's about, trying to ask for additional information about some kind of formal event, then again, a formal letter most probably will be the correct one. So formal letters usually are written in formal style. Yeah, remember, no simple language, no short forms, some passive voice structures. If you can use one word instead of two words, then you'd better use that one. For example, when you are writing to the hotel asking for some place to stay, instead of saying, is there a place you could put us up? You could ask whether the accommodation is available. Yeah, put up, have accommodation. Yeah, so that is the difference between the two styles. Usually it's written to somebody you don't know, as I mentioned before. Maybe you know the person by name, but not personally. And it has a very specific structure, which we will explore. What are the occasions when we write the formal letters? Judging by the pictures, one of those cases could be asking for information. Asking for information about, for example, the summer course that will take place, asking for information about the traveling arrangements to a summer camp, asking for information about traveling itinerary, anything like that. It could be complaining about, for example, a telephone that you have bought, but it doesn't work properly. Maybe about the service that is not actually very effectively done. For example, if you go back to traveling, you might have had a guide who was actually leading, like the excursion, but maybe had little knowledge about the places. It could be also applying for the job or applying for the summer camp, for example. Yeah, so we're applying for some kind of summer course, for example, someplace. There could be also letters of invitation and some other forms, but these are just a few, that I have listed here. Here you can see the very good sample of a formal letter. Layout perfectly well presented. For example, the first thing that I want to comment on would be the addresses. Avoid writing the addresses in exam situation. Yeah, so I don't want you to do that because you do not get the bonus point for having written the address, but you will lose points if, for example, the address is wrong or you have a spelling mistake or anything like that. So avoid addresses in exam situations. But in real life, your address goes in the top right-hand corner, and the one that you are writing to, so the receiver's address goes on the left side, right before the letter itself. I want you to notice the date. The date goes right underneath your address. And even in the exam situation, if you don't write your address, it's always top right-hand corner, never underneath the letter, never underneath the letter, okay? When you have done that one, I want you to notice the greeting. In formal letters, we will always start with dear. Dear Ms. Rooney, as it's given here, dear Mr. Brown, dear sir, dear madam, but it's always dear. I know that some course books show hello, some show even hi. Well, hi will be to a friend anyway. But in formal letters, remember that dear is the only accepted version. After that, we go to the essential first paragraph. What you have to do in it, you have to tell why you are writing. The same applies also to informal letters. The first statements, the first sentence even, okay, alone, is always why you're writing the letter. Yes, so I have applied to your job, have scheduled the interview, but cannot make it. Thank you for the letter that I received then and then and then. I would like to respond to those questions that you asked. Yes, so always why. Then we go to the main body. Main body, the information in the main body will be in the rubric. Rubric usually gives you the context in which you are writing. For example, you are applying for that and that and that. So that could be your first paragraph, the reasons for writing. And then it gives you the bullet points, what exactly you have to include. The bullet points go into main body. Well, like all of those ideas, you have to put in sentences that are nicely linked together that, like, this is what you're writing about. Here, for example, the person wants to reschedule the interview because there's something else that is happening, but trying to assure that the skills still and the experience is still valid. So indicating that this Thomas More wants to actually get the job. And then you have the final paragraph. Speaking about the main body, it doesn't have to be one paragraph. It can be several paragraphs. It is all dependent on the number of words that you will be having in that letter that you can write. Yeah, so how many words that exam task lets you write. And then you just try to thank the receiver. Even if you are writing the letter of complaint, my recommendation would be always say thank you. Yes, so for example, thank you for your time, but I want you to take care of the matters. Yes, so don't be rude, don't be very angry at the person. So this is emotional part is not part of the formal letter. Yes, so thanking the person. And then this last sentence that you can see, looking forward to meeting you, is a very effective one to finish. First of all, this is appropriate style in formal letters, appropriate language in formal letters, and any sentence that starts with looking forward to, looking forward to meeting you, looking forward to reading your next letter, looking forward to receiving a response from you. Anything like that is very applicable. When you have done that, then we go on to sign off. And if you don't know the person personally, but you know the last name of the person, dear Mrs. Rooney, then it's sincerely. If you completely don't know the person, you don't even know the last name of the person, then it's going to be yours faithfully. So sincerely, if you know the person's name, faithfully if you don't know, and then you sign off. So this is what the typical letter layout looks like. So no address, date, dear somebody, why you're writing, then all the bullet points from the task put as sentences in the main body, thank the receiver, say goodbye in different way, for example, sincerely if you know the person's name, or faithfully if you don't know, and you sign off. And now the practical activity starts. You will not have an envelope as it says here, but you have the file that is entitled formal letter _9. There is a formal letter on it. It is not cut in sections, but it's placed in illogical sections. I want you to arrange that in the correct order. Yeah, so as much as it's possible. It looks like this. Oh, I cannot show it to you, so I will be back with my recording in a moment.